Guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody and what's going on. I want to talk about something where it sounds like we're beating a dead horse, but there's so many angles to address on this, particularly if you care about black people. And I got to go back to the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. You guys know about what happened at the Oscars. Will Smith decided he wanted to slap Chris Rock for making jokes about his wife and stuff like that. And so this morning I did some financial stuff. I did some purely financial stuff. So if that's the kind of stuff you guys like, then that's right there. Go to my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. This morning I did a short video on the 5 reasons why black wealth is dropping. But also remember this: I'm not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So one of the things that I want to reiterate to you is that if you want to understand things like black wealth, you have to look at the whole ecosystem. You can't just look at wealth in a vacuum. You have to look at the entire process and the system and the culture and the issues and the choices and the way we build our families and the way we respond to each other, the way we love or choose not to love each other, and all these other things. So anyway, give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. That way I can make sure that I'm coming through okay. Give me a yes in the chat. I'm actually visiting some families. That's why my background's a little bit different. All right, and hit that thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. So did anybody see where Tony Rock, Chris Rock's brother, basically said some pretty aggressive, he had a pretty aggressive response to what happened with Will and Chris at the Oscars? Anybody see that? Now I'm not here to I don't know, maybe Tony Rock is just talking. I'm sure that there's an entertainment aspect of this. There's a huge wealth aspect to this. I mean, Chris Rock and his family are going to make a ton of money from this because, Chris's tour sold out because he has the sympathy of the whole country. A lot of people view Will Smith and the majority of you, actually, I did a survey. The majority of you feel that Will Smith's actions were ridiculous, inappropriate, just showed a lack of discipline on his part. And I tend to agree with that because I will just say this. I've been a black man my whole life. I'm always going to be a black man. And one of the things I can tell you is that a man who cannot control or a man who loses his emotions can easily lose his freedom, and he can also lose his life. If you lose control of your emotions, you will eventually at some point lose your freedom because you're going to get locked up, or you will lose your life because some people don't turn the other cheek. Some people, you slap them, they're going to go get a knife. You pull out a gun, they pull out a bigger gun. Next thing you know, everybody's dead. So one of you is dead, the other one's in prison. So it really, the truth of the matter at the end of the day is that if you are talking about things like black wealth, you guys know that that's sure. Yeah, my doctorate's in finance. But one of the things that I can see, because I understand economics so well and things like that, is you got to understand that a big reason trillions of dollars in black wealth is lost due to things like mass incarceration. White folks made a whole lot of money locking all your men up, locking all your fathers up, destroying your families by taking your men away and sending them off to prison. This is why. So it's for those of you who don't understand why I'm so passionate about what I saw on that stage. That's why. That's why, because I know people who got 30 years in prison because somebody disrespected them and somebody got shot. And sure, when you're looking at it on the surface, if you're playing checkers and not chess, I'm a chess player. I played a little bit of chess. I was really good at it. I'm a mathematician. I'm also a poker player. And all those skills come together. And let me explain why. It all comes down to the ability to think strategically. Strategic thinking means you're not just looking at what happened. You're looking at the ramifications of what happens. In economics, they call that the multiplier effect. You're looking at how you're not just looking at A. You're looking at how A causes B, which causes C, which causes D, which causes E. Right? So you're not just looking at a slap. The slap is to slap. Who cares? It's a slap. It doesn't even hurt. You're looking at, well, okay, wait a minute. After the slap comes a punch. After the punch comes a knife. After the knife comes a gun. Next thing you know, one guy's dead, one guy's in prison. So I don't know if y'all understand this. I mean, do you understand how many black men are in prison right now doing 50-year sentences because somebody got disrespected at the club? Somebody said something about your girl, and you trying to man up and show that you a man, and your girl's like, baby, you need to go whoop his ass, baby. You need to go whoop his ass. And so you like, yeah, I don't want to look like a punk in front of my woman. Next thing you know, you running up on somebody. Somebody gets killed, somebody gets hurt. and you sit up in jail, and that same woman who was egging you on, telling you to go do whatever you're gonna do, she done got a new man now. Why would she date you? You're locked up now. You're not worth anything to her anymore, right? So the point of the matter is that you got to understand, you got to connect the dots, man. I'm here to hopefully help you connect the dots. I'm not here to change your opinion. If your opinion is what it is, if you're okay with what happened, or maybe you think Chris Rock deserved to get slapped, I'm not going to argue with you about that. I mean, I'm not saying that you're crazy or that you're wrong. Maybe Chris deserved to get slapped. I don't know that, right? But I will say that you have to understand how all the dots connect. Part of the reason that our community struggles and our families are broken and so many Black men are dead or in prison is because some people can't connect the dots. They think, oh, well, if I just run up and slap him, it ain't no big deal. Well, let me just explain why I'm bringing up what happened with Tony Rock. Tony Rock, I watched him on stage. Faye Bishop, thank you to Faye Bishop who sent me the video. Tony Rock goes on stage, and the first thing he says is, he said, let's lay out some ground rules. He basically says, I'm not my brother. He said, I'm not my brother. He said, I won't turn the other cheek. If you decide that I say something that you don't like, you have one option. That option is you got to sit back and deal with it. Because if you run up on me, there will be retaliation. I thought that was funny, and I pretty much expected that. But what he also mentioned was a little subtle point that you might have missed, but I thought about this, is he said, Will forgot. He said, you're going to go slap my brother? He said, you forgot that. He said there are several Rock brothers in the family. Now, he said 10, so maybe they got some play cousins or people they consider to be brothers, but I looked up the bio. I think Chris Rock has 5 brothers. 5 brothers. Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. I'm going to ask y'all a question right now. I don't know how many of y'all got siblings? How many of y'all got siblings? Give me a yes in the chat if you have a sibling, a sister, a brother, a baby sister, big brother, big sister. Anybody got siblings? How many of y'all got siblings? I got a brother and I have a sister. And then I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, one on my mother's side, one set on my father's side. Give me a yes if you have siblings. All right. Now, I want you to give me another yes if you saw, now imagine, how would you react if you saw your sibling on stage at the Oscars or at the Grammys or some fancy event, and some guy walks up on your sibling and decides they want to slap the hell out of your sibling right in front of the whole world? How would you feel? How would you react emotionally? Would you just turn the other cheek? And so give me a yes if you might feel compelled to lay some hands, not in a Jesus kind of way, but lay some hands on somebody if they slap your sibling on stage. I can tell you right now, if my brother was on stage, if that was my brother, and you walked up on my brother and slapped my brother, we're going to have a problem. I'm coming right to you. I'm making a beeline directly to you and to your seat. You are not going to sit quietly at the Oscars and laugh it up as if nothing happened. That is not going to happen that day. We going to embarrass the whole Black community at that point. We will be scrapping on national TV. You're not going to slap my sibling in front of me and not expect a retaliation. And then the other point you got to understand is that I'm never going to forget that. Chris Rock's brothers, if they are masculine, if they are men on any level, they are never going to forget this. So you think that your beef is between you and the other person, and what you don't understand is that no, when you are beefing with the other person, you're beefing with every relative, every person on earth who loves them. Every relative they have will never forget what you did to them. That's why if you go to LA, you got decades old beefs between families and whatever, because somebody thought, okay, if I go shoot this guy, then nothing's going to happen. They don't understand the ripple effect. The ripple effect means that, or the butterfly effect, that's another more common term. They don't understand that now you've created trauma that is going to stay with other people for the rest of their lives. There's a friend of mine who was he's the chairman of the board at the Air Jordan brand. His name is Larry Miller. Larry is a great guy. I know Larry. I went to go visit the Air Jordan brand. He took that company from $300 million to $3 billion. He's a brilliant guy. Now, Larry is, I also honor him because And he came on the podcast not too long ago. The interview's out there. And he basically confessed something that a lot of people didn't know about him, which was that the reason he went to prison for 10 years, or it was several years, and had to get his education in prison was because when he was 16, back in the 1960s or 70s, he shot somebody and he killed him. Or I don't know if it was a shooting or a stabbing. I think it might have been a shooting, but maybe it was stabbing. Either way, someone died, and it was terrible. So here we are, 50 years later. Larry finally talks about it. He puts it in a book and he brings it up. Well, do you know what happened? He hears back from the relatives of the guy that he killed 50 or 60 years ago. A lot of times people think that these situations involve just two people. No, it involves those two people plus everybody that's connected to those people. This is how trauma spreads like the coronavirus. It literally spreads like a virus. When you deal with one person, you're also dealing with their brothers and their siblings, right? So with the whole Chris Rock thing and Will Smith thing, this is not a gossipy issue. I don't want to talk about it from a gossipy perspective. You can talk about it all day in terms of what you think about the relationship and him and Jada and all that. I'm here talking about this from an economic perspective and a social perspective. I think every day about what's wrong with the community. Why are we not able to do the things we want to do? And a big part of the reason that we have trouble that we have is the inability of Black men to resolve conflicts in a way that is intelligent and strategic. As I mentioned to you all before, a man who loses control of his emotions will eventually lose control of his life. He will also lose control of his freedom. Somebody's going to take your freedom or take your life if you cannot control your emotions. And that's 100% true. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share, subscribe, all that stuff if you haven't done it yet. And also, just a reminder, don't forget, we got the All Black National Convention. For those of you that want us to do better, we have the All Black National Convention in October 28th through the 30th. We're going to have a lot of good stuff. We have speed dating. We have political panels. We have economic panels. We have trainings on everything from crypto to investing. We have the B1 ball, which is really, really extraordinarily good. It's like a formal gathering, stuff like that. We have fun. We play spades. We do all kinds of stuff at the convention. So if you'd like to join the convention, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com, or you can go to boycewatkins.com, my website, and get the tickets there. Or you can also hit the link in the bio if you're watching on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. All right, so here's a couple of ways, for those of you that are purists in the sense of thinking about the economics a lot, because I know a lot of times people don't understand. They don't understand why I'll jump sometimes a little, what seems to be away from the economic box to talk about what's going on with the Black community. Well, that's because Black wealth is different from white wealth. A lot of Black wealth is lost because we don't understand how all these little choices make a big difference in wealth. If you consider families that lose their father figures because somebody gets hauled off to prison or somebody's dead, that's a massive multi-trillion-dollar economic loss for the Black community. When you go to a lot of communities like Southside Chicago, West Side Chicago, parts of Philly, where there are no fathers, where you have a fatherless community because so many men were hauled away to prison, most of those communities are impoverished because the father is typically the breadwinner. So the Black families starve economically without their men, for the same reasons that our family would be hungry without my wife. If my wife was gone, then that means that the kids would not get to eat as good as they get to eat because my wife is the one who knows how to cook. If my wife is gone, we wouldn't have the emotional support and the nurturing and the love that she brings into the household. If my wife was gone, we wouldn't be as healthy because I would probably eat different and live a different lifestyle if my wife wasn't there to remind me to do things that keep me alive, right? So the same way that the woman can bring the health and the love and the nurturing and the life into a space, the men can provide the protection, security, and economic prosperity that a family needs, right? So when you lose your men, you're losing your wealth, but you're also losing your sanity, you're losing your life, you're losing your freedom, you're losing your happiness, you're losing a lot of things when you lose your men. And it starts with little things like this. It starts with things like, that Negro disrespected me. So, because I'm a man, I got to retaliate. And next thing you know, I retaliate. He's retaliating to my retaliation. Then I'm retaliating to the retaliation from his retaliation. It's an escalation. That's why, for example, if you go across the world to Russia, where Russia declared war on Ukraine, a lot of people couldn't understand, like, why are people worried about World War III? Why this ain't got nothing to do with World War III. World War III is where all the countries are fighting, right? Why this is Russia and Ukraine. I don't speak Russian. I don't live in Russia. I don't even know where Ukraine is on the map, right? So why would people be looking at something that seems tiny, like a war between Russia and Ukraine, and worried about World War III and all of us just dying because somebody launches a bunch of nuclear weapons? Well, it's because it is, as Jimmy says, a vicious cycle. That multiplier effect I mentioned earlier, or also better known as a butterfly effect, right? A slap turns into a punch turns into a knife turns into a gun. Next thing you know, somebody's dead, somebody's going to prison. So in Russia, a little bitty spat between Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian president Zelensky grows into intervention with NATO, the United States, and bigger gangsters getting involved. Next thing you know, you have complete chaos. So when I watch this whole situation, it kind of makes me a little bit sad and concerned and a little cringy when people start really thinking that this makes sense, justifying this. Like, yeah, he need to get slapped. That's how you show respect. You got to protect black women. Protect black women. Well, first of all, how many of y'all agree that we need to protect black women? Give me a yes in the chat if you think protecting black women is very important. Give me a yes if you think we need to protect black women. I agree 100%. I got daughters. I have a wife. Yes, protect black women, protect black women, protect black women. But let me tell you something about being a grown-up. Part of being a grown-up and being intelligent and being strategic means that protecting black women doesn't mean that you always have to be a caveman. Like, physical violence is not the only way to protect black women. Black women don't feel protected just because you're ready to run up and slap somebody. Think about this, right? You got guys that will slap somebody or punch somebody over a woman, but don't understand the other ways that you protect black women. Well, you have to protect them emotionally, right? You have to protect them. Maybe protecting means protecting them financially, right? So you got the same guy who's like, yeah, I'll slap anybody. I'll whoop his ass. What girl? He looked at you funny. I'm gonna hawk him up, right? And the woman's looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you get hauled off to jail. Now my child doesn't have a father anymore. And then at the same time, you ain't protecting me in no other way except physically. All you know is unga bunga. All you know is I'm gonna whoop his ass. What else do you know about competing and protecting and prospering and succeeding and being strong outside of I'm gonna whoop his ass? Right. So I'm not saying that. I mean, sometimes an ass whooping is called for. Sometimes physical violence is necessary. But if that's the only tool in your tool bag, well, then you're kind of a one-dimensional guy. You're not a guy that really understands that term, protect black women. Because when I protect the women in my life, there's 1,000 different things I have to do outside of just threatening to whoop somebody's ass, right? So I'm not so with Will Smith, I don't know. I'm gonna guess right now Will Smith is regretting what he did. I really believe that. He has a think about this. Think about this. Will Smith spent 30 years trying to win an Oscar. 30 years. He's been going to the Oscars since 1991 or 92. Never won anything at the level that he won on that night. That's literally the biggest night of his life. And think about this. After it's been done, he has not done any interviews. He has not done any public appearances. He does not seem on any level to be leveraging what should have been the greatest night of his life. He's not even going out and explaining why he did what he did. I'm like, look, if you have a good reason for what you did, then we're all ears. Like, well, our ears are bigger than yours, Will. Like, you got some big ears, but right now all of our ears are big. We're like, well, can you explain that? What was going on that night? And so my belief, and again, this is just my 2 cents. I really think something was off. And I don't know how much it has to do with Jada. He's a grown man. He's responsible for his own choices. But something seems problematic and something doesn't seem right. And then also, when you look at what happens with the community, with people looking at a leader, looking at a man that a lot of people look up to. Studies show that black people pay attention to celebrities more than every other group of people. Did y'all know that? When Nielsen did a study to explain to companies how to sell products to black people, you know what they said? They said in their study that black African Americans are more heavily influenced by celebrities than any other group of people in this country. Did y'all know that? So when we see a celebrity as iconic as a Will Smith, run up and slap somebody, that gives millions of people who, again, who aren't strategic thinkers, it gives millions of people permission in their mind to say, well, I got to up the ante now. If somebody says something bad about me or my woman, and I don't slap them, then I'm going to look like a punk. And then you have women that take their cues from that. You have women that may end up saying to men, look, if you're not ready to go slap somebody for saying something I don't like, then you're not my type of man. And again, I just say to the guys, like, if a woman ever whispers something crazy like that in your ear, that's not your woman. You need to leave her to the streets. Let her go date a Tupac. Let her go date a thug that's gonna get locked up for 50 years, and so she could be a baby's mama to an inmate. Like let her go do that. Let her go live that life. Because the woman that I visualize as being good for your life, my wife, if I told my wife I was gonna run up and slap somebody because of what they said about her, she would love me enough to stop me. She would grab my arm and say, no, boys, that's not, no, I don't want you to get killed. I want you to get beat up. I don't want you to go to jail. I don't want bad things to happen to you. Just sit back. We're gonna handle this together. So if that makes you a punk or a simp or a wimp, then something's distorted about your community. I'm gonna tell you this too. When white people took over hip hop music in the 90s, when they took over hip hop, when they bought up all the record labels and started really promoting this gangster bullshit to you, start getting you banging over breakfast, get you thinking that the thug life is the only life, right? And without seeing the dark side of that, they messed up the heads of so many of our people. They messed up the heads of so many of our people. Because what happened is you had the women that were attracted to that thuggish behavior. And you have women saying things that didn't make any sense. Like I would hear women say, I want to be with a corporate thug. I want a guy who can put on the suit and be smart. He got the college degree, but he'll thug out and he'll go whoop somebody's ass if he have to or whatever. And I'm like, a corporate thug? That's weird. Like that. I mean, wouldn't you want a superhero, like a man that's going to really protect you, like like a strong man? What is this corporate thug stuff? Like that's strange. And I don't hear that from other races. I don't really hear Asian women saying, I want a corporate thug. I don't hear I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Every other culture has its issues, right? But I mean, I just don't really hear that. I hear that with African American culture because you don't really have any culture. All you got is either slave culture or you got the gangster rap culture because you don't have your culture was stolen. They took that away from you when you came over from Africa. So you don't have culture that goes back thousands of years. When I talk to friends from Africa and Asia and other places, they can literally reference family structure and family traditions that can go back 2,000, 3,000 years. Black people can't really do that. We'd be looking at black exploitation movies trying to figure out what our culture is like. And do you know who's making these movies? Well, those same people in Hollywood that owned Will Smith for all those years. So ultimately, I just really think you want to process these things, and I encourage you to be strategic. I encourage you to connect the dots. I encourage you to say, what if this continues? So if Will runs up and slaps Chris, and let's say that he doesn't slap Chris. Let's say he slaps Chris's brother, Tony. Tony made it clear. If you slap me, I'm retaliating. So imagine this. Imagine Tony Rock is at the Oscars. Now, Tony was so funny. He said, I ain't got a whole lot of shit to lose. So I don't care. Like I will, I will fight you. But imagine if he had slapped Tony Rock and Tony Rock, or let's say he slapped The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson. Let's say he slapped The Rock. Well, The Rock isn't going to let himself just get slapped on TV. So let's say he responds. And then he says, I'm going to go punch you. Next thing you know, you got two black men fighting on live TV in front of the whole world. Now, part of me doesn't care because I don't really live and die off of what white people think about us. But at the same time, if you value things like Oscars and Academy Awards and black people being on TV, that doesn't seem to necessarily support your purpose. Also, you got to understand this. When the whole world is viewing black men as violent, immature, undisciplined, then guess what happens to your son if he goes into a bar and something happens and a white boy picks a fight with him and he retaliates, and next thing you know, he's being judged by a jury of white people who saw two of the most prominent, most respected black men in the country. Well, I'm not gonna say two. I'm gonna put it on Will because Will was the violent one. Chris Rock didn't retaliate, right? So they watched the Oscars. They're like, wow, even the men who are at the peak, like Will Smith was a notch down from Barack Obama. He's maybe a notch up. He's right there with Barack Obama. He's been famous for 20 years longer than Barack Obama. So he's right there with Barack Obama. So they're seeing this. So guess what? When your son is in front of that jury and a white girl has falsely accused him of rape, or he's gotten into a fight with a white boy and the white boy says, well, he attacked me first and his friends are corroborating his story. Well, they're going to reference what they view black men doing. They're going to think about the gangster rap songs where black men are openly bragging about beating people up and killing them, right? They're going to reference the Oscars where they saw one of the most prominent black men in the country decide that he felt that slapping somebody was the way to solve his problem. And they're going to send your son to jail. Now, is it right? No, it's not right. It doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. We're all different. We're all different kinds of people, and people should see that. But I really encourage you to just look at the bigger picture, and I think a lot of you are, and I applaud you for that. For those of you who disagree, you have a right to disagree. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just here to get you to consider all the perspectives and all the ways to look at this type of thing. Okay. So anyway, that's all I want to share, guys. I gotta go. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, all this other good stuff. And also, like I said, the convention, the All Black National Convention's at the end of October. If you want to learn about that or learn about our stock market class that we have on Tuesdays, you want to become a better investor and all that other stuff, then go visit boycewatkins.com, and we have plenty of stuff there for you. And in fact, there's like a free link where you can actually get some of the stocks that I'm picking for this year. So feel free to go take a look at all that. All right, guys, have a good day. Love you. God bless you. And I wish you well. Talk to you soon. Peace.